this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Thank you for joining me today. Quick little video today to show you how I made this project using Stampin Up products. I'm a UK demo for Stampin Up, so my job is to showcase the products that we supply, just to give you some inspiration about maybe your paper crafting projects. And if you see anything that I use that you'd like to purchase, you can click down below and there's a link to my shop. There's also a link to all the products I'm using. Today we're making this little snowflake card. I know it's only July, but I've been making Christmas in July themed projects this week because there's a couple of blog hops that had a theme of Christmas in July, and I just got a bit carried away and carried on, and I was using current stock, so nothing new from the new catalogue, which isn't out to customers yet, which will be out on the 3rd of August, I think, maybe. But we've got it as demos, and we've actually had a pre-order, so we've got a few of the products, but I'm not using them here. I'm using products that have carried over. So I'm using this lovely set, Snowflake Wishes, which is on page, not that page, 90 of your annual catalogue down here. Doesn't get very much attention this year. This is because it was carried over from last year. Last year there was a whole double page spread on it. If you look back at last year's catalogue, you'll see loads of ideas for using this stamp set. Some really lovely snowflake images here. I'm not so keen on the sentiments in this set, except I do love on this sentiment, I love that Merry Christmas, so I've cut mine apart, so I just use that little Merry Christmas on its own. But there are other Merry Christmases in the catalogue as well, and you might like these. May your season sparkle, our friendship is one of a kind. In the coldest moment of the year, my heart is warm because you're near. Thank you so much. I don't mind that one, thank you so much. I think you can make a nice card with that with snowflakes behind. Anyway, oh, and the other stamp set I'm using, which is the one that I've used to stamp the Merry Christmas, is A Wish for Everything, which again you may have missed in the new catalogue, carried over again from last year, but it's here. And it's loads and loads of little words, really useful sentiments. It's £36 because it's a double stamp set. So you get 2 pages, 2 sheets of stamps, and you've got these longer ones. Sending Easter wishes to someone very sweet. May the beauty of Easter fill your heart with hope. So there's Easter ones. There's a merry little wish for lots of joy this season. So Christmas ones, to and from. And then you get these bigger happy and wishes. So you could do birthday wishes. So you could do birthday with this one. Lots of options there. There is a die set that goes with it as well. But just the stamp set on its own is great. And I love having all these words that I can combine to make little sentiments. So let's have a look at this card. So first of all, we're going to start making our square card base. So quite unusual for me to be using a square card base, but I like it. I do make quite a lot of square cards in my business where I sell cards, not quite so many when I'm doing showcasing Stampin' Up products. So I'm going to get my trimmer and I'm going to cut my A4 cardstock down to, if you're working in metric, it's down to 12 centimetres, and if you're working in inches, it's 4 3/4 inches. So that goes like that. That's a piece of card that will get used for another project. And then I need my arm out because I'm going to cut this one to 24, so it's double, so I can fold it in half and we'll get a square. So it's either 24 or it's 9.5. So that's my card blank, another piece of card that won't get thrown away. And then I'm just going to come back in here and score at 12 centimetres. Or if you're working in metric, you'll be scoring at 4 3/4. So that's our square card blank, as easy as that. So let's pop my trimmer down and just grab a foam folder and just burnish this really well, because it's our thick basic white cardstock that I'm using here. Because I'm using it as a card base, I'm using the thick stock, so it gives a really lovely sturdy card base. If you use our normal basic white, you might find it's a bit too flimsy for a card base. Right, and then on here, get a bit of scrap paper, we are going to stamp some snowflakes in a diagonal going along the card. So I'm using the stamps that I'm using for this from this set. I'm using these 3 smallest snowflakes, and I'm using these 2 little flourishes. So that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. And I'm going to change up my colour scheme for this one. So on this card, I used Pool Party, Balmy Blue and Highland Heather. Quite like that combination for Christmas, but I'm going something a bit different for this one. I'm going to use Smoky Slate instead of the Pool Party. And then the colours, I'm going to use Petal Pink and Soft Sea Foam. So a different colour scheme. We'll see how it turns out. Don't think it's a colour scheme I've used much before, but hey-ho, we'll give it a try. Might go that way. Just don't want to mess my grid paper up because I've still got more videos to make today and I don't want to change my grid paper. Right, okay, so I'm going to take this cluster and I'm just going to stamp randomly across the diagonal in Smoky Slate. If you wanted a slightly lighter grey, you could stamp off before you do this. So I'm turning the stamp round sometimes and sometimes not. There we go, and I'm just doing one level at the moment. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it round and I'm just going to bulk it out a bit. Where should I start? Let's just do a little bit at the top there, first of all. And then maybe a little bit there. Because, of course, not all of this is going to show. This is going to be under our panel, so we're not all of this is going to show. So when we get to our panel, I can lay it on here and see what's still showing and maybe add a little bit more, but we'll leave it at that for the moment. So you've got the I did do the diagonal through, but really you probably only need to do the two corners because it's going to be covered. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two little bits of white card. This is normal basic white, and my trimmer. Now these panels, these strips already measure 3.5 centimeters wide. If you're in metric, it's 7/8 of an inch. Is that right? Yeah, 7/8 of an inch. Yes, I think. Let me check that. No, it's not. 1 3/8. No, yeah, 1 3/8. Why did I not write that down? Written that down wrong. 1 3/8 inches. Yep, don't know what's gone wrong there. Ignore me, 7/8. I don't know what went wrong there. So I'm just going to trim these down to 3.5 centimetres. I'm a metric girl, so I work in centimetres most of the time, but I do try and offer the inches for people I know who use them, but I don't find it easy. My brain thinks in metric terms. Okay, now because I just cut a tiny bit off there, that didn't really cut very cleanly. So what I'm going to do is just bring my chopper in, which will give me a nice clean edge. It's just that it was just cutting just where I needed it, so I just cut that little bit off. Brilliant for that. I wish Stampin' Up would bring that little chopper back. I'm sure I'd make a lot of sales because a lot of people comment on it. Now I've got a bit stuck in my groove. That's a little bit that I just trimmed off. Oh, now that's bent. Oh, the joys of being live on camera. Can't get that out. Right, let's try my pokey tool. Wherever it is. Pokey tool, oh, doesn't seem to be in here. Where have I hidden my pokey tool? There's one. That's not the one I was looking for, but there's a pokey tool. There we go. That will come out now, hopefully. Oh my goodness. Well, you do see warts and all in... Ah, there you go. Got it out. Do see warts and all in my videos. I always say, you know, sort of, I don't edit these. I don't edit things out. So you see the trials and tribulations of a real life crafter. I don't think you really want to see me producing a perfect project with no issues if that's not true life. I'd much rather watch crafters making mistakes and how they solve them. Right, there we go. We've got 4 squares. That one's not quite 3.5. I don't know what I did there. So again, going to come back in. Again, that might not cut terribly cleanly. Oh, that's all right. There's a bigger bit. There we go. Right, okay, we've got our 4, and then we need a piece of Smoky Slate, which is... I'm going to measure it. I think it's 7.5 by 7.5, but I've got myself in a real muddle now. Yeah, 7.5. So it's going to have a tiny, tiny border around the panels, these square panels. So 7.5 by 7.5. And then our panels should lay on that and leave just a tiny border. I'm not going to stick them on yet. I'm just going to lay them on so you can see, like so. So they'll be straighter than that, obviously. Like that. And like that. They'll lay there with tiny border around that, but like that. And on our card, that's going to cover up. So I've got plenty of stamping now because the rest of it is going to be covered up. So let's start stamping our squares. So I'm going to take, let's stamp this square first of all. So I'm going to stamp the snowflake itself in smoky slate again. And down towards the bottom, not in the centre of the square, very deliberately. Leave that one. I'm then going to stamp this one, and I'm going to do that in soft sea foam. This one is fairly central in the square. Don't worry if it is not exactly central in this design, it absolutely won't matter. Lovely. And then I'm going to stamp the other big snowflake, this one, in petal pink. And I'm deliberately going to do this going off the side of the square, like so. And I'm going to, oh, and then I need to do the Merry Christmas. Oh, I haven't looked for my Merry Christmas. I've got my Merry Christmas mounted somewhere, but it's buried on my desk and I forgot to look for it before I came on camera. Just give me a minute. It should be here somewhere. Oh, what have I done with it? So you can't see the muddle that is on my desk either side. Oh, where have I put it? Just talk amongst yourselves while I try and find my... I had it mounted up. I didn't take it. Oh, there it is. Got it. I didn't take it off the square because I'd got it mounted up and I knew it was straight. So I'm going to go back to smoky slate now. One day I'll give you a shot of my desk, the bit that you can't see, and you'll see what a muddle I work in. I just clear this little area and then the rest of it is still a complete muddle. I never seem to have time to do a video and tidy my desk. It's always a choice, and usually I decide to do the video. So I'm just stamping Merry Christmas roughly in the middle of that square as much as possible. And then, oh, I could keep this open because we might do a little bit more. We're going to take this little flurry and we're just going to add some detail to some of these. So I'm just going to come in with my flurry and just go up here in smoky slate. And then I'm not going to do smoky slate on that one, but I'm going to do a bit of smoky slate on this one. Do that there. There we go. And then I'm going to put my smoky slate away and clean my stamp because I'm going to use the same stamp with a different colour. So the good old chamois. Just clean that off. Chamois is nice and damp. And I'm going to take soft sea foam. And I'm not going to do soft sea foam on that one, but I am on the Merry Christmas. And I am on this one. And I am on this one. Like so. So they're looking good, aren't they? I'm quite liking this colour scheme. And then we're going to clean that off again. And we are going to add petal pink. We've finished that one. That one's finished. These three just need a little bit of petal pink. So we'll do a little bit of petal pink there. a little bit of petal pink here, and a little bit of petal pink there. Maybe another little bit of petal pink over in that corner there, like so, just a bit. There we go. So there's our 4 squares. So here's our square to mount them on. So just need to be very careful. So this one is going down here, and I just want to have that one in position so I can see the borders. So I can try and keep all the borders as equal. So a little bit of Tombow on the back there. Spread it out with whatever tool you have to hand. I use a cocktail stick. Really lovely thin layer of glue. It's not going to squish out anywhere and will give you really good adhesion with minimal amounts of glue. And that Merry Christmas isn't very straight, but I'm going to go with it at the minute. Next panel, a little bit of glue. Try and get to the corners so the corners don't come up. And that one is going up here. And then this one is going here. Yeah, I'm really liking this. Very unusual, untraditional colour scheme for Christmas, but quite liking these pastel shades. There we go. That one is going up here. So again, trying to keep all the panels equidistant. And then they're not quite straight, but hey ho, we're going with it. And then the last one is going to pop in there. You'd think it would be easy, wouldn't you, to line up 3.5 inches, so 3.5 centimetres square. Actually quite tricky. There we go. Just make sure you have got a little bit of a border around, and your eye should make it look right. Now it's obviously one of these that's not quite straight, but hey how I'm going with it. There we go. And then all we've got to do is just mount that onto that card blank. So I've got some dimensionals here, brand new sheet of dimensionals. So I need to use at least 4. I'm going to put one in the middle as well so it doesn't get squished down in the middle. And then there we go. Of course, one other option is to have a bigger piece of card to lay your squares on and then trim it down after you've stuck them on, which would be one way of doing it. And then just stick that on there. So there we are. 2 different colour schemes, 2 very similar Christmas cards. Hope you like that. Yeah, I've not done that as carefully as I did this one though. I'm not as happy with that. Bit wonky, this bottom one, and not a straight border there, so I obviously didn't cut those panels carefully, but you can learn from my mistakes and do it properly. So I hope that's given you some ideas. Any snowflake stamps would work with this. You don't have to use the ones in the catalogue, but this just shows you the ones. We've got some other lovely dies in the catalogue, which I must admit I added to my pre-order, which are stitched snowflakes, and they're really pretty, which I'll be bringing you soon to show you. But anyway, that's it from me today. Do have a look down below where you'll find all the links to the products I've used, and a link to my shop and a link to my blog, which you can pop over and I'll have photos of the cards on there. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you have a lovely day. Bye for now.